Hey everybody, happy Friday the 13th and welcome to This Week in WordPress. I'm BJ and hopefully you're not going to have any kind of unlucky times here. I'm so sorry. I'm a content creator with Elegant Themes, the makers of Divi, and I've put together all of the best news tutorials and resources that have been published this week in WordPress. So if you don't mind, may have hit it just a second a little bit too early while I was talking. But hi everybody, hope you're having a fantastic Friday afternoon. I'm seeing a lot of people in the comments already on YouTube. I really appreciate you guys commenting. For those of you who don't always know what it is, hold on, one, I see people saying that there are mic issues. I cannot hear anything, so what are, oh, and there they're fixed. For those of you who don't normally join us and those who do, I want to go through a recap of what this is. Every Friday afternoon, we get together and we just talk about stuff that was published this week in WordPress. So it could be news that's going on, big news stuff that everybody needs to know about, tutorials for all sorts of different kinds of skill levels, and then resources that we all may just need or want to share with our friends or know somebody who needs it. So that's kind of what it is. If you have any questions about any of the articles, if you have anything that you want to say in the comments, please do. Welcome any kind of commentary. We have a wonderful discussion every week, and the community is just absolutely great. Where if you have any questions about what's going on, this week in your WordPress, your WordPress, excuse me, we have people who will help, and if I can have an answer, I will do everything I can. So feel free to speak up in either YouTube or Facebook comments. And remember, everything that I am talking about, all of the articles are going to be in the comments, or not the comments, but in the description of this video down below. So make sure that you check those out and give some love to all of the content creators out there who make this possible. So, without any further ado, let's get to it and look at what was published this week in WordPress. So speaking of news, I didn't get to go through this last week. We published it last Friday, and as I was putting everything together, I completely missed it. But I want to let you guys know that the Elegant Themes blog is now open to submissions for you guys to submit any kind of articles that you would like to publish. It is a way that we're wanting to open up for the community to really give back. We've seen from this show and so many other places that the community has a lot to say about Divi and WordPress, and that you guys are incredibly smart about this and you have just wonderful content. So we've opened up to where we have a submission system that we will be paying you for your work. So if you want to know more about that, there's a link. It is the first link, and it will stay the first link in the description here of the video, where you can go see more and check out the details. But if you would like to be published on the Elegant Themes blog, this is your chance. And it is a really good opportunity. And like I said, we really want to showcase some of you guys and the work that you do. So check it out and get paid for it. So that's awesome, and I wanted to talk to you guys about that last week, and I turned off the camera before I realized that I didn't even put it in my notes. So I'm sorry about that. I see a comment in YouTube right now asking if anybody's going to WordCamp San Diego tomorrow, which actually is great, because I was going to bring up WordCamp Atlanta. There are a bunch of different WordCamps going on across the nation, across the United States at the very least, this weekend. So if you're anywhere, they're starting tomorrow. Technically, they're starting today if you want to go in, do any of the pre-stuff and register. But WordCamps are the official WordPress conferences. They're all over the world, and mostly, like I said, right now, I think they're mostly in the United States, in different cities. And if you've never been to one, they're fantastic, and they're only $40. That's $20 a day. So if you haven't checked that out and you're within range of any of them, you really should check that out this weekend and a lot of the other weekends. You can check and see which ones are near you by either going to wordcamp.org or you can actually log into any of your WordPress installs, and if you haven't changed any of the widgets, there is an events nearby widget that you can look at, and it will show you any kind of meetings and meetups and WordCamps that are going on in your area. So the two I know of are San Diego and Atlanta this weekend. So you guys should definitely check that out, because as far as conferences go, they're crazy fun, and they're really cheap. And I'm not sure about this one, but we also have Divi Nation meetups, where a lot of folks who go there are Divi users and get together. You would have to check out meetup.com/Divi Nation, or just search for Divi Nation on meetup.com. So yeah, that would be great. Oh, and I see Jonathan in the YouTube comments is talking about the London one is this weekend as well. That's awesome. I hadn't heard about London, but that one's I can't even imagine how big WordCamp London would be. That would be so much fun to go to. I've been to a few here in the States. I've been to 3 here in the United States, and one of the international ones would be awesome to go to at some point. I'm hoping to get to do that, or at least have some of our team be able to attend sometime. We've talked about that. So that's awesome. So yeah, if you're in the UK, go. Well, I say the UK, and that shows how ignorant I am of this stuff. I'm like, everybody get to London, because I'm like, everybody knows how to get there, or not knows how to get there, but has the means and everything. Just like, hop on over to London. But it's funny, I've always had international students, and I've had various British students who've come over, and they get really upset on long car rides. They have to stop and get out a lot, and they're like, man, these car rides are killing me. This is like driving across my entire country. And I'm like, yeah, it is. Like, we're so used to, especially in the South and some of these areas that are more spread out in America, that long drives don't think anything. I don't think anything at all about it. And it's funny to me to think about. It's like, yeah, you know, my state is driving across it that takes 4 or 5 hours is about like what they would be doing across country. So it's just what you're used to. So I always think about that when I think about traveling. Like, oh, you can just go to London. It's like, it's not easy, because it's not easy for me to drive 5 hours that way. But so I go to London, go to Atlanta, go to San Diego, go to your WordPress dashboard and check that stuff out, because I think you guys will really like it. Matthew Turner says that it's GDPR compliant, and they're going to have about 600 participants there in London. So that is awesome. And Unforced Rhythms in YouTube says that drive across Texas is 900 miles. And driving across Texas is something I've only done twice. I've driven, no, I've only done it once. My wife has done it twice. She drove from Alabama to Waco, and then I drove from Alabama to Dallas. And so we didn't go all the way into Texas and go across a lot of that. So I can't even imagine, because what we did was like, oh my goodness, this never ends. So it's, woo, man, Texas is huge. Getting into the news, you know, I talked about the submissions, I talked about the WordCamps that are coming up, and I'm really happy to announce, I don't know if he is watching this, but I want to give a huge welcome, an absolutely huge one. I want you guys to do this too. We have a new content team member at Elegant Themes. This week, Matt Philly started as our new video specialist. So not only do we have Mac doing videos, we have Matt doing them now too. Matt Philly is absolutely fantastic. He has videos already up on YouTube. He's doing some WordPress tutorials and trying to apply videos to a lot of our articles that don't have them. So you guys, I've got a link in the description right now that you can go check out the playlist of the tutorials that he's already got online. They are just stupendous on how good they are. He is a wonderful addition to the team. So if you guys check him out on YouTube, he has his own channels as well. Off the top of my head, though, I feel really terrible about saying, hey guys, go check out Matt's stuff, and I can't remember the name of his channels, but he is absolutely on the Elegant Themes channel now, and I'm so excited for you guys to see his content, because it is just phenomenal. So you guys really, really, really need to go check that out. Check him out, say hi to him, and let him know how fantastic it is that he's here. And I was even talking to him today about you guys. Seriously, I was telling him how fantastic the community is, because on one of his videos, he had somebody already comment on how much they enjoyed them that they really liked the way the videos were going now. And I was like, and he was just like, this community is great. And I was like, you should hear some of the stuff that comes out of my live stream. Like, I just love talking to these people. And so I was talking about how great you guys were. So go give him some love. I'm sure he'll end up doing some live streams now and then. I think we're all going to be doing some. I'm not sure which ones he's doing because he's doing a lot of pre-production, pre-recorded stuff. But you guys really should check that out. He is fantastic, and he's a super nice guy. So welcome, Matt, and y'all, like I said, y'all say hi to him. I see some comments. It's 4.5 hours for Uncle Social to drive to London. Is parking, and he says parking would cost more than your car's worth. What? How bad is parking in London? I can imagine, I don't know how expensive it is for, say, a day. I know that, in like Nashville or Huntsville, the closest cities to me, it's probably running you about $25 a day to park if you're going in one of the public lots. So I have no clue on how it would be in London or New York or somewhere that's this much larger. Oh man, and Colombian Hosting drove from St. Louis to Portland. My goodness, I flew to Portland. There's no way. And then Vladislav asks, what plugin is best to have all GDPR, staff writing, ET, and WordPress websites? I'm not quite sure I understand, Vlad. Are you asking what the best plugins would be to make your entire website, along with Divi and Elegant Themes and WordPress in general, GDPR compliant, or what? I am a little confused. We are working on, like Uncle Social said, on getting the contact form to be upgraded for GDPR. It comes in on May 25th. If you're not familiar what GDPR is, I think I put it in. I'm not sure if I put it in today. I did not. That it is the new European Commission's generalized data protection regulation, where it is going to be basically privacy opt-in for everybody if you do any business with members of the EU. And it's going into effect on the 25th of May this year. And we're working hard as a company and honestly as a platform with WordPress to do this. So everybody is doing it. Right now, working really hard on it. Right now, WordPress itself has a GDPR team that you can check out their stuff that they're doing. I think it's, is it WP GDPR or WordPressGDPR.com? Let me... oh, that's the wrong place. Let me see. Because I was doing an article on this yesterday. There should be one soon on that. It is GDPRWP.com is the official WordPress one, GDPRWP.com. It is the, and you can, like Matthew says, search GDPR on WordPress.org. One of the biggest things that you can do for GDPR compliance right now are making sure that you don't have anything by default that they're opting into. The number one thing that you need to be aware of is that they have to explicitly say yes to allow you to take their information. So if you have anything on your site that just defaults to being checked that they accept, you cannot do that anymore. You have to be able to make sure that they have access to all of their data and that they can delete it at any point, and you have to say what you're doing with it when you ask and say who you are. So basically, what I'm looking at and what I'm seeing is that plugin plugin makers and developers are going to probably be putting this stuff in as default options that you're going to need on like contact forms. It will say we need your email address to keep you updated with something like that, or we need your phone number for our specialist to do this or that. I'm expecting that stuff to be fairly default. I know that WooCommerce is putting stuff out. There's if you look for if you go to, I want to say it was Bloom something. I lost my train of thought is gone on, or I can't remember exactly what it was, talking about how to get it together for WooCommerce. Okay, Vlad. I don't know. All of that said, I don't know a straight up good plugin solution for everything. I think there are some that are there already that are working on it. I think maybe there's one called GDPR WP, or maybe just let's see. Here's one that that I'd been looking at. I haven't messed with it much. Is WP GDPR compliance, where it's going to have a lot of that stuff. I expect a lot of these to pop up over the next few weeks as people really start digging in. That's one of the few that I know of that has decent enough reviews on it. So I would check that one out. That's WP GDPR compliance. It's on the plugin repo. And then there should be something coming from the WordPress core itself, either a plugin or an update that does a lot of this too, because there is a dedicated team who is doing that. That's the plugin that I would take a look at, because it's the one I was looking at while I was doing the article that I was writing. So so maybe that's the one I would go with and at least look at and see. So yeah, maybe somebody else, hopefully somebody else may have had one or has something like that. I wish I could be more help on that one. I'm not sure. There's not a lot of plugin stuff right now that I know of. If somebody finds a great one, please let me know, because that is something that comes up quite a bit. So, you know, talking about what WordPress is doing and the kind of plugins and things like that, getting onto the repo, something they announced this week was that the theme repository, the just where you go when you can download a theme from WordPress.org, the free themes, they've been changing the way that they're doing the acceptances now, where they're trying to take the focus off of their team and putting a lot more of the responsibility on the authors themselves, where they're only going to be looking for certain things before they get approved, and really putting the responsibility on the creators to make sure that they're within the guidelines, so that they're not taken down and doing things and messing things up. They're working on different algorithmic changes to check for stuff that go along with the plugin, what's it called, the theme check plugin. But what the team is going to do right now, it takes a lot of people going through all of the themes that they have submitted. They're basically going to only be looking for licensing issues, malicious stuff in there, like if you're putting cryptocurrency miners and things like that in your theme. How they're doing with content creation, you know, what you can do with it, and then the security to make sure that you are actually not opening up any kind of PHP injections or any other security problems. So if you're a theme developer, it's getting a lot easier to get stuff onto the repo soon. The way that WP Tavern puts it is that the bar to pass a theme is significantly lower. And while that's true, you're going to have to kind of own up to a lot more yourself. So check that out if you do that kind of thing. And I also put this in news that was, I thought this was cool. TorqueMag put it out, and I put this under news because while it's more of a resource-ish, it's news in the sense that I think every single one of you needs to know this. Torque did an article this week called "What's the Optimal Content Length?" And so they went through a lot of different metrics on researching using different Google's front page analytics, using what people look at on Medium and how long it takes them to read the most popular articles on there, how long they are in the Google search results, on what CoSchedule is looking at for the most popular organic traffic, stuff like that. And what they found actually surprises the heck out of me, that it's long content, that it's 1,800 to 2,200 and higher word blog posts that are getting absolutely the best. And when you look at it, HubSpot actually did a breakdown with a different of a chart on here, where if you go greater than 2,500, then that is where you see a drop off, but you are gaining consistently really until you get to 2,000, 1,700 to 2,200 there. it's crazy. It is absolutely crazy for me to think about that, because I mean that's about what I write at any given time. Is 1,500 to 1,800 is kind of what I personally shoot for on an article. Also, you guys know I talk a lot, so that has something to do with it as well. But I really did not think that just kind of general blog posts, general articles on the internet did that well when they're super long form. And I'm really happy that it does. But it's something that for those of you who deal with clients who want you to write content, if they're really wanting the best content that they can have, content that touches the surface doesn't do anything. It doesn't rank at all compared to long form content. And Neil Patel really broke it down really cool at the very bottom of this article. They did looking at different niches where you can see that manufacturing and finance and tech and gadgets and healthcare, all of these kinds of industries have really different experiences with different word counts when you look at it. So there's a list of those toward the bottom of this article. And I find this kind of list really helpful. I really liked that, looking at different novel genres, things like that, for word counts that you can expect within each kind of like mystery fiction or science fiction, that kind of stuff. It's really cool. So if you do any kind of writing, or your clients do, really look at Torque's article on the length of content, because having it on there being 2,000 words or more being the most popular part really blew my mind, y'all. It's crazy to me. Uncle Social says that the WP repo theme review makes you wish again that WordPress will make a proper modern app store directory for plugins and themes. Yeah, there's a lot of room for improvement there. Like you said, and revenue. That there should be a big push for that, and I would not doubt that is something that will come in the next year or so with Gutenberg. They're probably going to open up kind of a Gutenberg block store, if I would guess, that will probably be different than the plugin store, given the way they're the plugin repo, given the way that they're making the blocks be right now. Sorry, I got distracted by the things. Wow, man, my brain. I'm reading comments. This is my problem. See, I can't multitask, LV. But it's the way they're doing Gutenberg hooks and the blocks and stuff that they're inviting people to make on their own. I wouldn't doubt that they have a completely separate section for that. That may be a good impetus to make them do theme and plugin repositories a little bit better. But yeah, Matthew asks that it's per page on not in one text module. Yeah, Matthew, that is per page. So if you use lots of different text modules or different Gutenberg blocks or anything like that, it would be within the same URL. So if you're looking at individual posts or pages that way, they didn't look. From what I read, it didn't take like entire sites into consideration. It was just the individual URLs and the pushing search rankings and stuff like that, and the organic search and social response to individual articles. Ad Video says, if an article has AdSense competing advertisers, does Google lower your ranking on search? I think so, Video. I'm not sure, but given the way that things have been going lately, and the way that I've seen some stuff that Moz did recently, I think I linked it in here about looking at Google's walled garden. Yeah, I think it does. That anytime they do that, you have the only way that you can get to the very top above advertisers is making sure that you kind of get that 0.0 instead of the first position. You get the 0 position with the info card at the top. Being able to get that is the way that you get above advertisers. Then the advertisers get in, and then you do. I'm amazed that like Uncle Social says that they don't get attacked by US and EU regulators, but because they label them as ads and they're not showing them, then they label them as sponsored content and they label them as ads. I don't think that they are any different than for regulations than anything else. It's not as though they're just paying, you're paying for links. But yeah, I do think that I do really think that they will come up for that, because I've been searching. Let me think. What was one of the things I was looking for this week? I'm working on an article on Salesforce right now, and I just Googled the word Salesforce, and the first thing that came up for my results was a card that was talking about different CRM articles or different CRMs like Microsoft Dynamics and things like that, and then below that, I got all of these CRMs that I'd never heard of before as ads, and then I got to the Salesforce one. So yeah, I mean, it's people will target for your keywords like that, and the best way to compete with that is trying to get the position 0 on Google. And the best way to do that tends to be answering a specific question about what people are asking and using bulleted lists to provide that information from everything I've seen. I've yet to be able to get any of mine done like that, but yeah, so that's the best way. Was if my published article has ads not published by Google. Oh, I completely misunderstood you, video. I'm sorry. If my published article has ads not published by AdSense and uses a competing network of ads, does that lower your organic search? I don't think so. If it does, I have never heard of it. I've never heard anyone talking about that, so I don't think it would, because you can run AdSense and the other, but I don't think that they look at that. If they do, it's something that's kept so hush-hush that I've literally never seen anything published on it. If any of you guys have, please let me know, because that's something, like video says, that is shady, and I've never seen it. So if it is, it's news to me. I wouldn't worry about that. I've run stuff through Chitika, I think, and Passion Fruit, and some other ads, and so I don't think that would be the case. But if it does, yeah, that needs to be regulated. That would need to be regulated hardcore. That would be ridiculous. So you know, I was talking a second ago about the Guten blocks and the Gutenberg blocks. Excuse me, and the Gutenberg blocks that were coming. And one of the news articles I put in here is specifically for you guys who are dealing with clients. So, okay, Gutenberg is coming, and it may be coming this month. We're probably going to get 4.9.6 within a couple of weeks, and it's what I would assume. I would assume by the end of April here. So what that will give you, remember what I was talking about, the banner ad that's going, or the banner at the top that's going to tell you that Gutenberg is coming and let you opt into using it and installing it and all of this. So what I'll put this article here is that Yoast put one of the easiest to understand articles about what is Gutenberg that I've seen yet up this week. So I wanted you guys to know about it. Just yoast.com/whatisgutenberg. And it really just breaks down what it is, because if you have trouble explaining that to clients and you're not really sure how to get that information across to them, this is a good article to do that. Because I threw it in news, because it's news to me that because it's coming, that everyone needs to really know what Gutenberg is, and this is a really clear explanation without diving into any of the tiny MCE versus page builder stuff. It just goes in and talks about what is coming for WordPress and what this specifically does, and gives examples of it. So with 4.9.6 coming soon and Gutenberg on the horizon, make sure you bookmark this, do whatever you do, keep a tab open, because I was told by my podcast partner that he doesn't use bookmarks at all and just keeps tabs open. So make sure that you look at that so that you can throw clients at it if they get really confused and need a basic fundamental look at what Gutenberg is going to be. So good comments and discussions. And then the last piece of news that I had this week was that I noticed today that iThemes 5.0 was released, the security plugin iThemes 5.0 security. iTheme Security 5.0. There we go. And what I really thought was neat about this, the reason I threw this in the news is because a lot of you guys use that. I know that I've seen some of you guys talking about it in the comments before, and I wanted to let you know that they've put in a really fantastic feature that I wish that a lot of the other security plugins would put in, which is a security grade for your site, where when you're looking at it, it will tell you about your security settings, what software you're running, and really give you an A, B, C, D, F grade of what security issues you have. Like your, if your PHP version is out of date, that will lower your grade. If your WordPress version is out of date, it'll lower your grade. If you don't have two-factor authentication, that kind of thing, where if you are looking to make sure that you have the highest grade of security that you can have, literally, iThemes 5.0 has that. So I think it's worth looking into because it's in it's out now, and it's man, it is a feature that I wish so many more security plugins would implement as well. So I wanted you guys to know about that. So yeah, hi Dominic, glad to see that you could make it for us on Facebook. And I'm almost like you, Uncle Social, about that my security grade is passed. I knock on wood, have never had a majorly hacked site, just some small ones. Cleaned some up though, so it's probably not a good idea for me to do that because it is a nightmare. So yeah, for anyone who's just joining us, that was all of the news section for this week in WordPress. I'm moving into the tutorial section where there's all sorts of how-tos and guides that really are put together for anyone from beginners to advanced developers who just want to know how to do things. So check those out and give some link love to the people who wrote the content. So the tutorials, the first one that I want to do is I absolutely could not resist putting some of ours on top because Donyetta and Jason put some really cool stuff up this week. And the first one here, is one that Donyetta published on the 6th, which actually came out last week, but it was Friday, and so I didn't get to talk about it. I didn't think about putting it in, and it's how to add animated shapes to your website with Divi. So she goes through and shows you how to overlap different images of squares and circles and just different like abstract shapes, anything you want really, but she uses these shapes so that you're using the Divi animations to keep them moving, and it blew my mind when I saw this. She posted a picture of it earlier in our Slack channel in the visual builder, and I just saw it and I was just amazed because I didn't know that you could like use the builder to make that particular effect, and when she did, I was like, that is one of the best things ever. So that is literally probably my favorite tutorial that has ever been on the blog that I've seen, and so I wanted to make sure that I showed you that, even though it was a day out of a week, so it was 8 days ago. I'm sorry, you guys. And Matthew in Colombia saw it. The video just recently, and Uncle Social did too. And yeah, she and Jason are both, I think, out of control. Uncle Social, Jason put together the image perspective article. I don't know if you guys have seen that one. It came out, what is today, the 13th? It came out yesterday, where he is using image proportions or image perspective to skew the depth of your page. And again, things that I really didn't know how to do myself, just straight up using Divi. I was really blown away by all of this. So you really should check those out. And Donyetta did the gradient hero sections with gradient color palettes today. Just they're blowing my mind, you guys. It's just fantastic stuff. So I'm also going to toot my own horn. Like I will toot it this time, and then I'll move very quickly. I published my first Divi tutorial last week as well. I did another one this week, but I was really proud of myself on the using opacity padding and negative margins to layer Divi modules, because I really enjoy using transparency and opacity to kind of move stuff around in the builder and make them overlap without having to use Z-axis. And that was the reason I wanted to write that one, is because I hate having to write using different Z-axis CSS, and it's a real pain using float, and I hate it. And so I was like, I'm going to do this with Divi, and I'm really proud of that one. So if you're like me and you hate Z-axis CSS, you can do a lot of that with the Divi builder. So so check all of those out. They're so good. Like, they're so good. I'm so proud of them. Them not as in mine, but I'm proud of them and the work they're doing. Like, I use theirs all the time. Hi Helen, hi on Facebook. Glad to see that you could make it, and so hopefully that you'll get some use out of these tutorials that we're in. So the next thing I want to talk about in the tutorials was another one that Torque put out, that was a developer's guide to creating WordPress products, and this one is awesome, because last week we were talking about people who are wanting to get into PHP, and some of you guys were talking about starting the different levels of programming and where you could get in on. And this one breaks everything down about WordPress itself that you really have to learn if you're going to do anything that's beyond front end graphic design stuff. So whenever I started freelancing, I did a Team Treehouse course on WordPress. Even though I'd had like 10 years of experience with it, I'd never specifically gone in and like created and learned what made WordPress PHP different from regular PHP. And the first thing that I had to learn about was the loop. I had no idea what the loop was, y'all. I'd been using WordPress since 2008, and I'd never used the loop. So, I mean, they start talking about stuff like this in this article, like getting you the idea of the loop, of what's being pulled at any given time through WordPress and how it iterates through the content, talking about hooks and action filters, and now the REST API, where the REST API is just so wonderful, y'all. I just want to shake on how wonderful it is because of being able to be able to access your database from the front end of your website. You can make calls immediately from one to the other. And it can also talk to other places on the internet without having to go through any kind of parser. It's astonishing. Check it out if you're wanting to do any kind of development, because it's the kind of thing that you really have to understand and have a very in-depth knowledge of. So it's good stuff to check out there. Hi, Emmanuel. Hello. Seeing we got some people coming in before we go in. So we'll be moving along in the tutorials. And Video Superhero says that the last they checked was the API had authentication problems with the REST API. What kind of authentication problems? It's not something I work with. I don't do. I read a lot about it. I've never actually worked with it. What's the problem that they've had with API authentication? I know that OAuth at least is supposed to work with it. And Sadaf asked, Divi should improve menu navigation on phone devices. I hear you. That's something that we're getting soon back to hopefully soon, a regular development schedule. I'm not sure what the priorities are on there, but one of the things I know that the dev team is aware of is the desire for people to get better menu navigation on mobile devices and different menu stuff. So that is something that's coming. I can't say, well, no, let me not say that it's coming. It's something I know that they're aware of, and they can, so that they're going to be working on it in time. But I know for a fact that one has already been, they're well aware of it. I agree though. I really like a lot of different menu options and header options and things like that. I end up using a couple of plugins for that. Uncle Social used Grasshopper app on Android. I've used it. It's awesome. Free Code Camp is great for JavaScript. Good job. Hopefully you'll do well on that one. Oh, no video used. Oh, man. Yeah, I've read that you could use WordPress as the backend for apps like that. That is terrible. With the thing, I haven't heard anything about that particular token problem. That is awful. Yes, I don't know. That would be a man. That's terrible. I'm so sorry but oh man, and with it being Android, it makes it a little bit easier to get into. I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to look into that now more with the outdated tokens and security issues. That's man. Ugh. So I wanted to also show you this. Prepare to answer these 17 questions for prospective clients. I know that, like I said, a lot of you guys are freelancers. A lot of you guys work with new people all the time. And this question this article has so many questions that we get asked on a regular basis that we really need to have elevator pitches for, that we need to have these canned answers that we can just push out and let them know what we're doing and what our answers are without us having to think. So it's like, how long have you been in business? And some people, I know that's an easy question, but it's like, I've been doing like me. Well, I've been doing this since 2008, but I mean, really, I freelanced for about a year, and then I started working here. So it's like you need to have a very specific answer for that. I've been working with WordPress for the last 9 years. I was freelancing from 2016 to 2017, yada, yada, yada. But those kinds of showing them your expertise and not being as rambly as I usually am, that kind of thing can come across really, really well to clients. Stuff like, what services do you offer? This is something that comes across more than anything else, because that's them and I shouldn't put it on them, but it's like them trying to put you in a box and really figure out what you can do for them, which is one thing, but also what they can get out of you. And I'm not saying that in any negative way, but when they ask you what services you offer and what you can do for them, it's good to be able to have a list of things that you specifically work on more than anything else. I mean, in my freelance side, I made sure that I talk about the web design and WordPress stuff. I talked about that I edit and that I'm a content creator as well, that I've spent years teaching composition, so I'm good at editing copy that they have. I'm good at writing my own as well. So it's specific things that you can do for them, such as marketing or anything else that is very, very specific. When they ask stuff like that, and then you'll get like, how much does each of these cost? What's included in prices? Yada, yada, yada. And we've talked about the best way to get prices. Remember, I've been paid as much as this, and my lowest has been this. So it's a good way to work out a particular client's budget. Matthew invented WordPress, so that's great. I mean, it was created by a Matt, so maybe this are you a pseudonym now? To be honest, I feel like it should be you quizzing the clients, making a basic competency or IQ test before taking them on. Luckily, I have not had to work with that. I am really lucky that I've not had one of those nightmare clients that just straight up didn't understand. I know a lot of you guys have had to deal with that, but yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that though, Uncle. That is something that you have every right to do, to be able to make sure that they're the kind of client that you want to work with. Because I ran into somebody who I was working with, one that I wasn't able to act like a normal client with because of extraneous issues, and it did strain the relationship because I couldn't be the one, like I couldn't get rid of this client for reasons where I would have been able to fire that client otherwise. So you can absolutely do that and not feel bad about it. But yeah, it's a good article talking about why WordPress, all of this stuff. Do you handle all this on your own? Just stuff like that you could do. So I see Sadaf says that he buys Revolution slider. We're instead of the Divi slider. Yeah, I know ours is very limited, and we know that with things that Revolution slider does. The fact that you can implement it into a code module, I know, is something that has moved that a little further down the list. So I know right now, I think that I've told people to buy Revolution because of the way that it works on phones. And Atik, you can't upload the logo. The logo button, upload button doesn't work. Atik, are you in the visual builder or are you in the theme customizer? Because if you're in the builder, I've had two things happen with this. One was that I was working in Chrome and there had been an update, and for some reason Chrome didn't like me anymore. I'd switch to Firefox and then I could upload again. I could actually save and upload. Other than that, I've had browser cache issues where I've not been able to click on anything and actually have it go through. I've also not been able to save work before because my WordPress session had expired. So I had to log out and relog back in, and that fixed my ability to actually upload and resave my work. And then it's with server caching as well. I've had issues with getting it to show up and actually upload. I've gotten HTTP errors whenever the site cache is full, and I have to purge the site cache, like on W3 or WP Rocket or something like that. And Colombian Hosting suggests trying to deactivate your plugins, because if there is anything working against it or in competition with that, it could also be a conflict. So thank you, Colombian. And if you can do that, if you can deactivate all of them and it uploads then you'll be able to know that's what it was. But those are the ones I've had to do in the past, just to have stuff like that when it wouldn't work. It drove me crazy. I did a lot of work one time and it couldn't hit the save button. And it turns out it was my browser cache that I had to empty. That was the worst one for me that I couldn't do. I did a lot of work and then lost it because of the browser cache having to be cleared right then. But that's absolutely a major issue. Hopefully one of those will work for you. If it doesn't, then I would go to elegantthemes.com/forums and put in a ticket on it, or ask on one of the Facebook groups. I know we have people, I want to say, trolling around there that may be able to help getting that answered. So yeah, I'm sorry about that. That is a real pain. I hate that, Atik. Would you need to deactivate the builder too? No, you don't need to deactivate the builder. And also, just in case, I always want to throw this out when something comes up about that with the builder. If you're running the Divi theme and the Divi Builder plugin, you do not need the plugin. That if you are running the Divi or the extra theme, the builder is built in. So you don't have to have an extra plugin. All you have to install is the theme. So if you do have the Divi theme and the plugin installed, try deactivating that plugin, and you won't see any change in the functionality. Nothing will break or anything like that, but you'll still have the builder, just in case that there's a conflict there. So yeah, that's it. We have about 10 minutes left, so I want to move down into the resources and thank everybody who may have joined in while we were talking about some of this other stuff. That I really want to thank you for coming in. You can always go back and listen to this video or listen to this as a podcast on your way to work, whatever you want to do. It's on the Facebook archives and YouTube archives immediately after the show ends. So you'll be able to check that out and see some of the stuff that you may have missed. And all of the links that we talk about and a whole lot more are in the description of this video. So make sure that you check that out, because I'm pretty sure there's something in there that you'll like. So there's a question. Let's see. Sorry, I went away from my microphone. Which e-commerce or WooCommerce is compatible with Divi? I know, Sadaf, that WooCommerce is. We have a WooCommerce store module, actually a store module in the builder. We don't have a the builder, the way that they do their particular product pages and things like that, they don't have our builder doesn't work in those pages. However, you can get third-party plugins right now for the Woo layout injector, I think, and then I think the Divi Space Page Builder Everywhere plugins do that. I'm thinking Divi Cake might have one too, but I may be completely wrong about that. So there's that. Judy says, I deal with some real newbies who identify as Luddites. Always include basic digital literacy stuff as part of your first consultation session. That's a good idea. That it will help decide how to work or not to. That I've done that whenever I was doing initial nutritional training and nutrition coaching and like personal training stuff. That was something I had on my questionnaire was asking like about what they thought about food, what their typical, how they approached it, because sometimes you really want to be able to do that, to know where they're starting from. So yeah, absolutely. Sometimes if you're dealing with a true Luddite, someone who is vehemently opposed to technology and having anything to do with it, that honestly, that money may not be worth your time if they really hate what you're doing and don't know or care. That could be a problem. So absolutely, basic digital literacy and emotional competency may be part of it too. So yeah. So moving down into the resources, I was talking about the PHP earlier as well. The complete guide under resources, the first one is the complete guide to PHP data types, numbers, booleans, strings, and more. Check that out. It has a bunch of it's a quick hit list of how you go through, excuse me, of the things that you need to go through to learn PHP and really know. So check that out. Man, I've talked so much, my throat is so dry. I'm so sorry. Seeing some of the comments here. 2 requirements of clients: using tools. Can I use the tools I'm best with? Divi. And do you have a credit card? That's great. On answer number 1, though, sometimes what do you do when they say no, Matthew? Because I've had clients who have wanted me to use X, among other things, and stick with their particular theme that they've had coded and had to deal with that. For me, it's fine because I'm going in doing maintenance. But I'm curious on that. Will Divi come to WordCamp Belgrade this year? I don't know, Emmanuel. That's a question from Facebook. That is where WordCamp Europe is this year, I believe, is in Belgrade, right? I'm not sure. We've talked about it as a team, as the content team at least. I don't know about the rest of the company. And it's been in discussion for some of our European members to go. I don't know if they're going to. I have no clue. I haven't heard anything beyond the here's where it is talks, but we've talked about it. So maybe that's not something I know. I won't. And I doubt any of the U.S. people will, but potentially some of our European folks might, given the discussion. So we'll see. I would love to see it because I would love to see the stuff. Never being able to go to Serbia like that, I would love to be able to see the videos and live streams and stuff like that coming out of WordCamp Europe, just to see how different it is. Same for WordCamp London this week. I'm really interested to see how those differ from the WordCamp US that I was at last year, or the WordCamp Birmingham that I helped organize. That would be interesting, but potentially. I'm not sure. It will depend on personal plans in that time of year and company plans too. So there's a bunch of comments who came up. Not Luddites, basic digital literacy questions, establish trust, true. A lot of them are artists, Judy says. The clients that would have to ask about digital competency, alternative healing arts people. Yeah, I've actually had to do that with a yoga studio as well, just to see. Uncle Social, ET needs to be less U.S. centric, see U.S. UTC times and travel the world. Nick's hair wants to see the world. I'm sure it does. Yeah, that is something that I know that we are working on right now, Uncle Social. We have a team that is spread out across the world. We have a hugely international team, and I know that isn't saying a lot on that. But most of our customer base right now is from a lot of our customer. Shouldn't say most, but as far as I know, a lot of our customer base is U.S. based, which is I think where that comes from. But you're right. If you can think of anything that could help, I'm always open to suggestions to keep everything to moving along. See if there's anything that we can do better, because that's what we want to do, is for you guys to really serve you guys and be there and be what you need out of us. Like that is one of the things that I put on myself. That's not necessarily a part of my job, but I want to be able to be that guy who can be like, this is what they need, I'll at least throw it in. So gee, I don't know if we have anybody in Canada. Like I know we have users in Canada. I'm not sure if we have Canadian team members. I'll have to look and see. That's something I'm not sure. Atik used Firefox and tried to deactivate, but your logo still isn't working. Oh yeah, Matthew, that's awesome. Matthew's got you. You might have to increase upload file limit too. I didn't even think about that, Matthew. You are on it. And the Czech Republic, yeah, I think we have someone who's Czech. I'm not sure. I thought we did. Anyway, guys, we are out of time. We have had a fantastic discussion. And that is about all we are going to, that's about all the time I've got for you. I wanted to let you guys know, I wanted to let you down easy. I'm not going to be here next week. Oh, I know I am taking a trip. I'm going to be on vacation next weekend. I'm going to do three of the Run Disney races next week in Orlando. So I'm super excited about that. So you guys don't get me, so I can go run a half marathon and a couple of other races. So I'll be back the week after that, and so that you guys can see my wonderful shiny face and hopefully like me being weighed down by medals and things like that. So that's why I'm not here. I apologize. I will miss you guys. I really will. I know it's going to be weird. 3 o'clock is going to roll around when I'm there, and I'm going to look, and I'm going to be in Disney World, and I will have already run one race, and I'll be like, oh, they're thinking about me right now. And then I'll be like, oh, that's I promise you I will. That's how enamored I am with you guys. So y'all check that out. Check out all of this stuff. I apologize. Like I said, I apologize for not being here next week, but that'll just give you guys a time to get a bunch of links to send to me for the following week. Because every time I've missed any weeks, I go back through the last couple and put stuff together for the really cool stuff. So it just makes everything fun to talk about then. So anyway, you guys, I need to get out of here, and if you have any questions or comments or anything else, feel free to throw them on the video, feel free to throw them in the live chat here, and please feel free to throw them in the Facebook comments as well. Also, hi David, so do that. You can always contact me on Twitter, or you can shoot me an email at bj@elegantthemes.com. And Atik, about the uploads, one thing that you might do is try to upload it by FTP to your media, to your WP content folder, and then use a plugin called Add from Server. I've had that happen whenever I couldn't get something to upload in WordPress as well. That's the backdoor way to do it, is FTP it up into the WP content folder and then use a plugin called Add from Server to be able to do it. I had to do that more than a couple times, even when the increase in memory upload limit wouldn't work. And so there are a couple of backdoors. Hopefully Matthew will be able to help you. And if not, shoot me an email or go to elegantthemes.com/forums, and that way that way we can. David, also talking about things that are going on before I get out of here. Need to get WCOC in June. Oh, are you speaking at WordCamp Orange County? I know they went to Orange County last year, David. So maybe we can start poking people for us. Start poking. Just poke at them. Just do like that. So yeah. Sadaf, you can throw me an email at. You can, if you have a problem, I'm not a support guy, so you can actually always email support@elegantthemes.com, and that's where the support questions go, and we have the support team going through answering and doing stuff like that. So, all right, you guys, I will see you in a couple of weeks. Don't miss me too much, and hopefully you will have a fantastic 2 weeks. Bye, y'all.